करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ तच्छयोगीमहे गातुं यज्ञाय गातुं यज्ञपदे दैवी स्वस्तिरस्तु नः स्वस्तिर्मानुषेभ्यः ऊर्ध्वं जगातु भेषजं शन्नो अस्तु द्विपदे शं चतुष्पदे। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। हरिः ओम्।
Jagadish Dr. Srikantaya, G.S. Subramaniam, S.A. Ramaswamy, please, please, please. Sir, please.
ಫೋಕಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕಂತ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಬ್ಲಡ್ ಬರ್ತಿದೆ ಅಂತೇಳಿ.
ಶ್ರೀ ಗೌರಿ ನನಗೆ ಹಾಡಿಂದನೇ ಟ್ಯಾಗೋರ್ ಹಾಡಿಂದನೇ ಇವರು ಆಯುಷ್ಯ ಗೌರಿ
Just a minute. Yes, sir. Okay. You will okay? Swear, sir. Madam. Narendra, sir. Sir.
समझे नरेंद्र बनी और
कैमरा इधर The program it is 2:45. Rajesh. Two D models. These are 3D models. These are just a pen stand. All are designed. So this can sound divided. Deeper. This periodic table or this periodic table. Especially in honor of Peter. Yeah.
Finally got to meet him. I learned so much about you.
RBI will be very happy.
Yes, yes, sir.
Bring lots of food. Lots of food is being wasted all over the world. So survey conducted at the university. 1.3 billion tons of food is wasted globally. So it costs almost $750 billion. So I thought of idea. This I got to start the function. So this app is we have food available. So the Indus will come and collect the food and go and distribute it. So it's a
Avoiding the wasted food and you are distributing it to the needy people.
yeah, sir. Actually, 40% of the food is wasted.
It's a huge amount of waste and many restaurants are wasting, even houses are wasting. This is a very good idea. Not only to the top, but also to houses. Many times they cook for some wedding and all, then there is a lot of food left. And then it just goes. You are participating in the Adult Degree Marathon.
And next,
Leave it up.
Dr. Ramanan is the mission director of the Inauguration mission, a flagship national innovative initiative of the Prime Minister and the Government of India under the NITI National Institution for Transforming India. AIM's goals are to establish and promote a vibrant culture of innovation and entrepreneurship nationwide. As the mission director of AIM, Dr. Ramanan has been instrumental to date in the launch and execution of several nationwide innovation and entrepreneurship initiatives, resulting in over 10,000 Adhyaksha labs being established in schools nationwide to provide 5,000 operations in over 600 cities and more than 2 million students are active.
great contribution.
So this is newly built astronomical club building.
अकलं पश्येमाक्षभिर्यदग्राः पुष्पवां सप्तनोति व्यशेमदेवैनय्यदायुः विश्रान्ति जय श्री गुरु महाराज की जय। This is an extension conclave of the we have a Session 14 above, which is Inauguration meeting. And this is going to be the place for symposium, discussion, exhibition, because the multiple questions.
And some of the paintings are done by the students itself.
Looks very professional.
The second piece is the things themselves.
ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಇದರಲ್ಲಿ ನೀವು ವಿಧಾನ
ಹೌದು
This one is very nice.
ಚಂದ್ರಯ್ಯ
Please direct. You go this way, right? Yes, watch it. So,
He's our youngest teacher in charge of observatory.
He is the biggest student of
So we'll see.
our construction engineer, Prabhakar. Please come. Sajal, you must
so, Ramananji, just have a walk here.
Very creatively done. All this.
So the students, they get connected to a bigger aspect of the world.
Yeah, it's very important because they should get a feel of what space is all about and what it is all about. It excites them.
These are some of the works that the students so we got an astronomy club. The students have contributed from 8th grade to 12th grade. So all have done the projects and different themes. Many different themes are worked on this. So we can use this for reading.
Yeah.
Reading some kind of a seminar or even discussions.
So now with this whole interest in reaching Mars, this will be very exciting for all the students. Madam? No, you should have. Okay, na? Moment. Mars. Videos are coming. Okay.
Thank you.
This is not to Session 8. Earlier we had Session 14. And here we have this company. So this is the
Mailcote building.
That is the Reserve Bank and all that. This is our nature school. And that knowledge park is that side.
Correct.
Swamiji, you can see the Melkote also here, Swamiji, Melkote hills.
Melkote also, that side you can see. French rocks and all that. So this was a greenery 25 years ago when we came. Absolutely no building. Now it is filled with building. Reserve Bank is from here only. Mint is there.
Perfect timing they come.
Beautiful. So all of this greenery has been there.
Yes. There is a wild
So many
patch of land.
birds and all must have come, no?
Hundreds. We have identified nearly about 70 birds.
Acha.
Names also.
So it's one
You can just have a small view of it. Then some students come.
You are the people to discover the future.
live stream there.
Good day.
This is how we take students up, and through this they see.
And the rotates.
Oh,
Mechanical switch on, down rotate, the top one also opens up. It also rotates whichever angle.
costs a lot about that.
Yeah. Yeah. You should.
You can also learn from them.
Correct. Dr. Vijay Raghavan is doing it. I will also speak to him.
I also met him. We invite him. You can also speak to him.
I'll speak to him.
Created after 30 years of study. SV Ramaswamy used to hold regular classes.
The dignitaries are entering the auditorium. I request all of you to kindly stand up. On the dais, off the dais. We have assembled here in Swami Yukteshnandaji auditorium for a program in connection with the opening of Science and Innovation Lab. We begin the program with Invocation.
श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः हरिः ॐ भद्रं कर्णेभिः शृणुयाम देवाः भद्रं पश्येमाक्षभिर्यजत्राः स्थिरैरङ्गैः सुष्ठुवागुंसस्तनूभिः व्यशेम देवहितैर्यदायुः स्वस्ति न इन्द्रो वृद्धश्रवाः स्वस्ति नः पूषा विश्ववेदाः स्वस्ति नस्ताक्ष्यो अरिष्टनेमिः स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्दधातु ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः हरिः ॐ.
Thank you, dear boys. I request our correspondent, Revered Swami Yukteshnandaji Maharaj, to welcome the gathering.
Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. We have all gathered here on this occasion of the inauguration of Science and Innovation Lab. The inauguration was done a few minutes ago, and the lab is dedicated to the illustrious teachers of Sri Ramakrishna Vidyashala, namely Sri Jagannath, Sri G.S. Subramaniam, Sri S.V. Ramaswamy, and Sri B.S. Shrikantaya, and the lab is now open for learning. On this occasion, we offer our respectful pranams to our Adhyaksha Swamiji, respected Swami Muktidanandaji Maharaj, and welcome him for this program. Pranam Swamiji. My loving namaskars to Swami Shivakantanji Maharaj, the correspondent of our sister institute, Ramakrishna Institute of Moral and Spiritual Education. Maharaj, namaste and hearty welcome to you. My loving namaskars and warm welcome to all the monastic members assembled here. Namaste and welcome. On behalf of Sri Ramakrishna Vidyashala, we very cordially welcome the chief guest of today's program, a very distinguished person, Dr. Ramanan. Welcome, Dr. Ramanan. Our other chief guest, Sri Pratap Singh, who is the Member of Parliament of this constituency, is unable to attend this program as he had to travel out of Mysuru. We thank him for accepting our invitation. I'll come to the introduction of our chief guest a little later. We also heartily welcome Srimati Geeta Ramanan, who has come along with Dr. Ramanan all the way from Bombay. We have amongst us our guest of honor, Srimati Jyoti Bailur from Bengaluru. She is the sister of Dr. Jagadish S. Gangolly, our alumnus and donor for the Science and Innovation Lab, which was inaugurated today. We heartily welcome Srimati Jyoti Bailur. We also welcome Sri Sharat Bailur, who is with us today. We are happy that he could make it to this program. He has served in the State Bank of India and also worked with Sri Kurian of the White Revolution, very distinguished personality. Very hearty welcome to you, Sri Sharat Bailur. We appreciate the interest of Srimati Jyoti Bailur and Sri Sharad Bailur to come here today and be a part of this inauguration program. Our regards and welcome to Principal Sri S. Balaji. We are happy and fortunate to have amidst us today elders and well-wishers like Sri Yuts Kirti Kumar, our former principal, Professor Prabhu Prasad, Sri Bhaskar Mane, Sri N.S. Chakravarti, Dr. Saraswati, other well-wishers, devotees, and also the sisters of our illustrious science teacher, Sri S.V. Ramaswamy, and others here. A very warm welcome to all of them. Our regards and welcome to all the members of our staff, devotees and well-wishers who have assembled here. We lovingly welcome our alumni present here. To mention a few, Sri Narendra, Sri M.B. Ashok, all the way from Bengaluru, and others. Finally, our very loving welcome to all our dear students. Welcome all once again. Now I take this opportunity to introduce our chief guest, Dr. Ramanan. Dr. Ramanan did his B.Tech in Electrical Engineering from IIT Mumbai and Advanced Business Management Program from the Harvard Business School and Cambridge Sustainability Leadership Program. He was awarded the honorary doctorate from Gujarat Law Society for his contributions to corporate leadership, business excellence, and pan-India innovation and entrepreneurship. He is elected Lifetime Chair of the Harvard Business School Advanced Management Program 187 Alumni Association. Dr. Ramanan joined the Tata Consultancy Services, TCS, in 1981. He contributed to the growth of TCS and went on to become the Senior Vice President up to 2021. He served TCS in various capacities, from product development to global business development and marketing, general management, strategy and visioning, business excellence. Dr. Ramanan also served as the strategic advisor and core member of Tata Group Innovation Forum, board member of Innovations for Defense Excellence, Defense Innovation Organization. He served the Atal Innovation Mission as its first mission director and additional secretary at the Niti Aayog, which is the think tank of Government of India. During this tenure, he launched over 10,000 tinkering labs in schools across the country and also Atal incubators and startups. We remember with gratitude the effort and services of Sri Dr. Ramanan in getting a unit of Atal Tinkering Lab to Sri Ramakrishna Vidyashala, and also our Adhyaksha Swami Muktidanandaji Maharaj, when he was in Mayavati, these two personalities joined together and they saw that Atal Tinkering Lab unit was sponsored to Sri Ramakrishna Vidyashala. Science and Innovation Lab is the furthering of that Atal Tinkering Lab. Thank you, Dr. Ramanan. Currently, Dr. Ramanan is serving as the chairperson of New Zealand Trade and Enterprise India Beachheads Advisors. He is the board member of India-Israel Innovation Forum, India-US Science and Technology Forum, Senior Fellow, Indian Institute of Management, Bengaluru, Strategic Advisor on Innovation and Entrepreneurship to multiple universities and NGOs. We once again welcome Dr. Ramanan, our chief guest. Welcome all, thank you. Jai Ramakrishna.
Thank you, Swamiji. We also welcome revered Swami Yukteshnandaji Maharaj, our correspondent on behalf of the school and dear students. Welcome, Swamiji. I now request our Adhyaksha Maharaj, revered Swami Muktidanandaji Maharaj, to hand over a bouquet and a memento to our chief guest, Sri Ramanan. I request revered Swami Yukteshnandaji Maharaj to present a memento to Srimati Jyoti Bailur, our guest of honor. I also request our principal, Sri S. Balaji, to hand over a bouquet to our guest of honor, Srimati Jyoti Bailur. I request our principal, Sri Balaji, to hand over a bouquet to our revered Swami Yukteshnandaji Maharaj. I once again request our principal, Sri S. Balaji, to hand over a bouquet to Sri Sharat Bailur, husband of Srimati Jyoti Bailur, our guest of honor. I request our correspondent, Swamiji, to hand over a bouquet to Srimati Geeta Ramanan. We now have Bhajan by our students.
Jaya Vireshwara Viveka Bhaskara Jaya Jaya Shri Vivekananda Jaya Vireshwara Viveka Bhaskara Jaya Jaya Shri Vivekananda Induri Bhanana Sundara Lochana Induri Bhanana Sundara Lochana
Thank you, dear boys. We wake up in the morning from the ringing of alarm clock and go to bed at night after switching our lights off. At the touch of a button, we are in a position to know and understand the entire global scenario, all thanks to the development of science today. Our globe has shrunk and has become a smaller place for our access. All these luxuries that we are able to afford are a resultant of science and technology. The science of today is the technology of tomorrow. It's hard to imagine our life without science and technology. Indeed, our existence itself depends on it now. I can see young and budding scientists in the making in this auditorium today. Many of our students are likely to carve a name and contribute in the development of science and make this place a better place to live in. Vidyashala is perhaps the only such institution to have a knowledge park where students from different schools walk in and have a free hand in handling the various experimentations in connection to science. Vidyashala has made consistent efforts to upgrade the skills of students in the field of science. For those who have been interested in the field of science, we have had separate hobby classes for them. I am reminded of our beloved Sri S.V. Ramaswamy sir today. He left no stone unturned to enhance the interest of students in the field of science. He personally supervised and helped students in making radios, calling bells, alarm clocks, helping them to introduce robotics and what not. Dear students, what we know is a drop. What we don't know is an ocean. A lot of tinkering and making an imagination of students going berserk has taken place in our institution. The imagination, the inauguration of this science lab is another feather in the cap for Vidyashala and is likely to help the forthcoming generations. I now request our revered Swami Mahipalanandaji Maharaj to enlighten you with a report regarding the science lab. Swamiji.
Om Stapakaya Dharmasya Sarvadharmasvarupya Vatara Varishtaya Ramakrishnaya Namaha. My humble pranams to revered Adhyaksha Maharaj, revered correspondent Swamiji, monastic brothers, namaskars to our distinguished guest, Sri Ramanan, guest of honor, Srimati Jyoti Bailur, the principal, teachers, staff members, special invitees, alumnus, well-wishers, and my dear students. On being asked to prepare a report on the timelines surrounding the science lab, have primarily categorized the report into the following areas. While understanding the Sri Ramakrishna Vidyashala ecosystem is paramount to future development. Number 2, testimonials. 3, origins. 4, objectives of the Niti Ayog and its resonation with the spirit of Vidyashala. A magnanimous gesture by our senior alumnus, Dr. Jagadish Gangolly. And finally, a financial abstract and the key people involved at the project execution level. Understanding the Sri Ramakrishna Vidyashala ecosystem. Sri Ramakrishna Vidyashala can be likened to a Gurukul in this contemporary age, which enshrines the timeless values of Indian spirituality, science and culture, striving to interpret Swami Vivekananda's ideals of self-reliance, service and dedication, a symbiosis of best of the modern and traditional ethos. It is in this context that the newly instituted Science and Innovation Lab, which was made possible by a magnanimous financial emotional gesture by our alumnus, Dr. Jagadish S. Gangolly, the 1956-61 batch, which definitely augments the vision and aspirations of our young minds at Sri Ramakrishna Vidyashala, the torch bearers of our scientific and spiritual legacy. Over the decades, Vidyashala has hosted distinguished personality of the stature of Sri C. Rajagopalachari, Dr. Babu Rajendra Prasad, Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, Sri M. Vishweshwaraya, Field Marshal Kariyappa, Sri K.V. Puttappa, Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam, Dr. Kasturi Rangan, Sri S. Kiran Kumar, Dr. Chidambaram, Sri Narayan Murthy, Lieutenant General Ramesh Halgali, amongst many other stalwarts. With the central and state governments too having recognized Vidyashala in the field of science and spirituality as a center of excellence. It is crucial here to recall the insightful thoughts from a selection of these distinguished guests. Why? So that we can contextualize the ongoing contribution of Sri Ramakrishna Vidyashala in this field of science and spirituality. Bharat Ratna Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam expressed delight to be in a place like Sri Ramakrishna Vidyashala where science and spirituality work together, and stresses that this type of value system is very important. Padma Vibhushan Dr. K. Kasturi Rangan, the former chairman of ISRO, who when he visited us states that, I quote, "I am so happy that a set of very dedicated people who have the conviction in their hearts have created this kind of institution to provide the kind of ambience necessary to carry our civilization forward, to carry India's progress in the context of certain sustainable development at which will touch everybody." Dr. R. Chidambaram, former Principal Scientific Advisor to the Government of India, mentions that he was tremendously impressed by the general ambience, the enthusiasm of the students, the commitment of the teachers, the affection-filled but disciplined atmosphere, the botanical diversity, the emphasis on science and scientists, and the proximity of the ashrama, which all add value to the education system here. These testimonials accentuate the stage for future explorations into the fields of science and spirituality, and now with the newly instituted Science and Innovation Lab and the Astronomical Galleria Pavilion, it is and will be a tremendous value add to the existing knowledge-based ecosystem of Vidyashala. The origins. The journey towards the AIM, Atal Innovation Mission, started in the year 2017 when revered Swami Muktidanandaji Maharaj, who was then the head of the Advaita Ashrama at the Himalayas, wished that the Ramakrishna Vidyashala too be a part of this AIM, Atal Innovation Mission. While referring to some of the Ramakrishna Mission schools who were already part of this program, his persistence and encouragement led to our school being a part of this AIM, whose first mission director and additional secretary was Dr. R. Ramanan, who is here with us today, gracing us and later mentoring us, instrumental in Sri Ramakrishna Vidyashala's induction into the Atal Tinkering program. We received a letter of congratulations from the Niti Aayog for selection and to establish the Atal Tinkering Lab on 25th December 2017. After signing the MOA with Niti Aayog on 16th January 2018, the amount of around 12 lakh rupees was sanctioned to set up the lab in the month of May 2018. This was the catalyst which had the potential to inspire future innovations on a more concrete platform. Vidyashala has a long legacy, history of having wonderful innovations. But this lab, at this level, at a more formal level, gives us a greater platform for future development. Niti Aayog and a culture of innovation and entrepreneurship. The National Institution for Transforming India, Niti Aayog, is the Government of India's flagship initiative to promote a culture of innovation and entrepreneurship in the country, and was set up in 2016. ATL, Atal Tinkering Lab, was a submission under this aim, intended to nurture an innovative and holistic problem-solving mindset in schools, especially for high school students across the length and breadth of our country. The Atal Tinkering Lab resonates, these objectives of the Atal Tinkering Lab resonates with the Vidyashala's holistic knowledge system, promoting an ecosystem which promotes innovation, hands-on workspace, learning skills, sculpting ideas, and access to the latest tech, and simultaneously creating opportunities for young students to learn and work in a flexible environment to build innovative solutions to India's problems. The Ramakrishna Vidyashala ATL was inaugurated on November 13th, 2018 by Professor G. Hemant Kumar, the Vice Chancellor of the University of Mysuru, in the holy presence of then Adhyaksha Swamiji, Swami Muktidanandaji, and the members of staff and the correspondent Swamiji in Vidyashala. The phase 1 of the lab began the right earnest, the Memorandum of Association, which defines the institution's scope, work, objectives, rules and internal management. This phase 1 setup was ably coordinated by our computer science teacher, Sri R.R. Mohan sir, and his team, with Messrs. Centrado Tech Solutions of Chennai, under the guidance of the Swamijis at the correspondent office. Over the last 4 years, we at Sri Ramakrishna Vidyashala have been active in the Atal Tinkering Lab program to the extent possible in spite of the pandemic situation, and have definitely benefited by the state-of-art 21st century tools of technologies such as Internet of Things, 3D printing, rapid prototyping tools, robotics, miniaturized electronics, mechanical, electrical and measurement tools, advanced desktop PCs and laptops, 3D printer with UPS, Arduino Nano and Uno microprocessors and microcontrollers, Epson internet-ready projectors, audiovisual equipments, Bravia smart boards, digital camera and camcorders, wireless recording devices, 5 kVA UPS backup systems, do-it-yourself kits, and many more. Coming on to the scheduling of these classes. The classes on tinkering were scheduled on a daily basis in batches. All the students were given training in basics of electronics, while interested and promising students were selected and given separate training modules to develop various projects. Our students have participated in various science exhibitions and have won accolades. In fact, during the academic year 21-22, nearly 53 boys of our institution registered online, received training in the ATL boot camp, and one of our class 9 students, Samit Gupta, secured the 61st place amongst 100 in the boot camp for his environmentally responsive app called Zero Waste. That's a very credible achievement given the age which the boys currently study, and is currently attending online various training sessions for entrepreneurship in association with ISB, Indian School of Business. The venue for the phase 1 of the science lab was the electronic hobby hall, presently utilized as the audio-visual theatre 2, and the computer science lab, while optimal conditions towards the future transition, where we see as the science innovation lab currently, were brewing in the horizon. It was at this juncture when one of our senior alumnus, Dr. Jagadish Gangolly, emails a letter to the correspondent Swami Yukteshnandaji, stating that I have always thought to contribute in a substantial way to Vidyashala. But now that I am at a late stage in my life, I would like to contribute in a meaningful way. More importantly, in the memory of my late wife, Dr. Jyoti Gangolly, MD, and my parents, Shivshankar Rao Gangolly and Premalata Gangolly. His dreams have come true today. The Science and Innovation Lab has been inaugurated. Following is an abstract of the financial statement and the key people involved in the project execution at the ground level of the Science and Innovation Lab. During the phase 1 of the lab design, the government sanctioned an amount to the tune of 12 lakh rupees, of which under capital expenses an amount of 4 lakhs was utilized towards computers, softwares, electrical equipment and furniture. Under revenue expenses, an amount of around 5 lakhs was utilized towards lab consumables, electrical repairs, maintenance, cultural expenses and audit fees. The rest of the amount is scheduled to be utilized as the situation warrants and the interest accrued returned back to the government. During the phase 2 of the Science and Innovation Lab, our alumnus, Shri Jagadish Gangolly, contributed a total amount of about 72 lakhs in 2 installments. Of which civil works, including the fabrication setups, amounted to about 45 lakhs. The furniture and interior expenses were about 15 lakhs. The electrical and electronic equipment, media interface equipment, CCTV installations amounted to around 15 lakhs. Reference manuals, books, smart boards and other digital content and auxiliaries amounting to a few lakhs accruing from the interest are due to be installed shortly. This Science and Design Lab covers an area of around 1750 square feet and can cater to around 100 students at a time, and also has got the capacity to address smaller modules of students. Yes, the building construction had a very protracted timeline of nearly 3 years owing to this pandemic, and special mentions is due to our architect alumnus, Shri D.B. Satish, who facilitated all the drawings and coordinated with the technical specs in an honorary capacity with the in-house Vidyashala team. The civil contractor, Shri Prabhakar, and his team of consultants at Srinidhi Constructions, whose son also happens to be an alumnus here, deserves a special mention and who took up this project under these very straitened circumstances. In conclusion, Vidyashala constantly strives to make education a process of discovery and joy, while empowering the Vidyashalites to reach their true potential. Sri Ramakrishna Vidyashala derives its inspiration as an integral part of the worldwide Ramakrishna movement, which reflects the profundity of the ancient Indian wisdom as echoed in the mission statement, Atmano Mokshartam Jagat Hitaya Cha, for the salvation of our individual self and for the well-being of all on earth. May the Holy Trio bless us in this pursuit of this twofold excellences. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tasad Shri Ramakrishna Arpanastu. Thank you.
Thank you, Swamiji, for the wonderful report and for giving an insight and the efforts put in for the implementation of the science lab and about the activities in the field of science in the institution. Thank you, Swamiji. Sri Narendra is an alumnus and a former secretary of our Old Boys Association. He is also the son of ex-principal of Vidyashala, Sri Jagannath, who served the institution for about a decade. Sri Narendra has supported the Old Boys Association by traveling across the country, meeting our students, and has helped in strengthening the association. He played an active role in organizing the Silver Jubilee celebrations of Old Boys Association. He is at present one of the members of the association and can be relied upon for all the needs of the school and the association. I request Sri Narendra to introduce our alumnus and donor of the Science Lab, Sri Jagadish Gangolly, to the gathering.
Pujya Adhyaksha Swamiji, revered correspondent Maharaj and other monks, respected principal, distinguished guests Mr. Ramanan and Mrs. Ramanan, distinguished guests of honor Sharad and Jyoti, respected teachers, past and present, beloved old boys in the audience, and beloved young minds of this building. I deem it my honor and privilege to introduce the single most highest donor from the alumni to this institution. Before that, at the very outset, I would like to thank the management for the gesture of dedicating the lab to 4 teachers, which on behalf of the families of the 4 teachers, I would like to offer my pranams to Maharaj. We are today celebrating a student honoring and respecting and offering his gratefulness to his teachers and to his alma mater. It was in December 2017 that Dr. Jagadish Gangolly spoke to me, and that was a very trying time for him because he had just lost his beloved wife, and 2 years previous to that he had lost his mother. It was the connection with Ramakrishna movement of this family goes deep and long. In 1929, the granduncle of Dr. Jagadish Gangolly, Thombat Keshava Rao, helped in the construction of the Mangalore Center, the Mangalore Ashrama, that was in 1929. His parents, Shiv Shankar Rao Gangolly and Premalata Gangolly, were in Delhi, and Dr. Shiv Shankar Gangolly, a horticulturist in his own right, worked under the greatest, the icon of horticulture of India, Dr. G.S. Chima, and then migrated to Kasaragod on request, and was working in Mudigire in the Kadabam Gardens. Dr. Shiv Shankar Rao was very close to the founder of this institution, Dr. Revered Swami Mahipalanandaji. The coconut trees in this alley and the sapota trees here, which some of you view every day, are all products of the collaboration between Dr. Shiv Shankar Rao Gangolly and Swami Mahipalanandaji. In June of 1956, a very rotund, petite, fair boy from Bombay joined the school in the 8th standard. That was Jagadish Gangolly. He had a class strength of 25. Then for young boys, there was only A block, B block, C block and D block. He comes from the 8th batch, 56, 61. 61 pass out is the 8th batch of this institution. 1953, the school was started, Kannada medium. 1956, they shifted to English medium, and also the calendar year was the tenure of the school from January to December. It was shifted from June to March. Very similar experience for all these young minds. There was a huge pandemic in 1957. B block, C block, D block became medical wards. Dr. Kinney was very busy among the boys, but the boys were not sent out. Experiencing this, Dr. Jagadish Gangolly became interested in music, he was not the physical kind, not much of physical growth. He was mostly into music, art, culture. He played the side drums because he could not carry the bass drum, and he was not approved as a bugler. That's what he writes to me. And then there is a very light note incident that Dr. Jyoti Gangolly, his wife, was doing medicine, and their house was just right opposite to the Ramakrishna Ashram now. Her father, Mr. Omanath, was the GM in the Southern Railway. And I believe Dr. Jyoti was always complaining to Jagadish Gangolly later on that the music created by the noise of the band was troubling her. And Gangolly immediately said that he was not playing the bugle. So 61, class of 61 had 25 people, 17 first classes in the 10th standard, 3 very bright boys, apart from Dr. Gangolly, Dr. Cheppalirapi Pelliyappa, who also went to the US. He's now author. He's heading many institutions in Coorg. He's the son of the former governor and first chief minister of Kodakusi and Pondicherry. His roll number was 1. Jagadish Gangolly roll number was 152. The strength was 160 then. Then, of course, the third person was K. Ramachandra from Gidjalagiri, Madhya. He also did his PhD in aeronautics and worked for the Boeing company in the United States. So 61, Dr. Gangolly left the school after went for undergraduation in Bombay, took up mathematics and information sciences. Never met anybody after 62. 62, I believe he met the boys and the teachers who went on a field trip to Bombay. And in 62, he met them in the Scout hostel in Bombay. After that, his undergraduation in Bombay, he went for his graduation in the prestigious Indian Institute of Management, Calcutta, completed his OR in Information Science, did his PhD there, then migrated to the United States, and after a few years of working in the corporates in India, he migrated in 1984 to the United States and took up teaching. He worked for 34 years in the State University of New York, Albany, basically into mathematics, accounting. He has published many journals. He is, when time for his superannuation came, he was the emeritus professor of the State of New York University, State University of New York, Albany. He's now happily settled in California with his 2 grown-up daughters, Malvika and Priya. I'm very happy that the extended family of Dr. Gangolly, his sister sibling, Jyoti Gangolly and Sharad are here. May I request the audience to stand up and clap for the extended family. It was in December 2017 he gave me a call. He was mentioning to me that the objectives of his help he wanted to give to his alma mater. He said, my character has been formed here, my personality has been developed here, my ethos, meaning balance between passion and caution. He wanted to do so many things, you will have a lot of dreams, but you develop a balance. That is here, he developed a balance. He developed that ethos. So he wanted to give back something. As you know, nowadays in the new normal, you are all living in a deluge of information. What is critical is what is known in present words as digital hygiene. People call it digital hygiene. How do you handle this information? This institution is not information giving. This is where you develop boundaries for your behavior and you fix your context. You will not allow your mind to go wayward with this barrage of information. This is ethos of Vidyashala, which Dr. Jagadish Gangolly wanted to augment by his donation. He said specifically that the objectives were, as Maharaj presented in his wonderful report, to stay cutting edge on biology and life sciences in education and training, to augment the stature of SRKVS in academia and excellence, and ignite young minds towards excellence in science, especially bio and health sciences. This is the basis on which, objectives on which he gave this single highest donation. But here, I would like to present before the young minds a few legacy of the Vidyashala boys who passed out here. The electronic voting machine you see here, which you use in the elections, were designed by an alumnus, Dr. Ravi Povaya, who is a professor of the IDC in IIT Powai. He is also a grandnephew of the founder, revered Swami Yukteshnandaji. Like this, I was telling the distinguished chief guest that the many old boys have done very well in science. We have many, about 100 plus holders of global patents. You know, international patents, national patents. International patents, 100 plus international patents are individually owned by Vidyashala old boys. There are many inventor group patents, but 100 plus is the total number of patents. In this audience itself, we have one Dr. Tejas Kalastwadi, who is an alumnus of the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, who has done very well. He's now come back to India and is the assistant professor of genomics at the University of Mysuru. So one more information I would like to give to these august audiences. There are various measures by which the scholars in science are measured. If you see Lancet or Google Scholars, you can see the number of citations, the H index and the I index, I-10 index. H index measures the level of science. CNR Rao Bharataratnam has a H1 index of 100, it's highest in India. In Mysuru itself, we have 3 Vidyashala alumni who have a H1 index of 60 plus, which is very, very good. And we have about 18 Vidyashala old boys who have a H1 index of about 50 and more. So this is the product for you, for all the education and training we got here. This is the celebration we will have to do so that the coming generation enjoys the training and come up with excellence and keep the Vidyashala science flag high always. I have no words but utmost gratitude to Dr. Jagadish Gangolly for his giving back to the institution. This is a value enshrined here, encouraging integrity, encouraging character, giving back to the institution so the next generation can make use of it. These are wonderful values. This is real enshrined value education. Thank you very much, Swamiji, for giving me this opportunity to introduce Dr. G.S. Gangolly. I'm sure that $1 lakh which he gave is just a starting, and many more Jagadish Gangollys can be found in the alumni community. Thank you very much.
Our own Narendra sir, as always, in his own unique and inimitable style, has introduced Dr. Jagadish Gangolly. Thanks to you, sir. We now have a video message from Sri Jagadish Gangolly and also on Atal Tinkering Lab. May I request the dignitaries on the dais to kindly move to the seats on the dais for the videos. And we have the videos displayed, please.
I am grateful to the Vidyashala for helping me be a better citizen and a human being. It taught me everything I know about living, and I'm grateful forever. I hope this lab will be used by students as well as teachers. Students to learn and teachers to develop new courses as the world changes. At this time, I want to show my gratitude to Swami Yukteshnandaji, who was the president when I was a student, and headmaster Jagannath, and at least 3 of my teachers, Sri Kandhaya, Ramaswamy, and Subramanyam. Thank you so much. Bye.
We regret the inconvenience caused to all the dignitaries on the desk. Ravi Kumar is a talented student of 9th standard C section. We now have recitation in English from him.
Swami Vivekananda on science. The utility of science is to bring out the perfect man and not let him wait and wait for ages. Just a plaything in the hands of the physical world, like a log of driftwood carried from wave to wave and tossing about in the ocean. This science wants you to be strong, to take the work in your own hands instead of leaving it in the hands of nature, and get beyond this little life. That is the great idea. The chemists take certain chemicals and certain results are produced. This is a fact. You see it, sense it, and make that the basis on which to build all your chemical arguments. So with the physicists, so with all other sciences, all knowledge must stand on perception of certain fact, and upon that we have to build our reasoning. Science has to collect facts, generalize upon them, deduce principles and state the truth. Science is nothing but the finding of unity. Manifestation and not creation is the word of science today. Thank you one and all.
Thank you, dear Ravikiran. I now request Dr. R. Ramanan, former Mission Director, Atal Innovation Mission and Additional Secretary, Niti Aayog, and also our chief guest today to address our students and all of us. Over to Dr. Ramanan.
Revered Swamiji, Muktidanandaji, respected Swamijis of the Ramakrishna Mission, respected dignitaries from all across the state who have visited and from outside, my dear young students who are the future of tomorrow. It is indeed a great pleasure, a privilege and honor for me to be able to stand here today and share a few moments of reflection on not only what I have seen, but what I think you all are going to see. In front of you is a world that is changing every day because of science and technology. Technology is changing the very shape of the world that we all live in. Technology is changing the shape of the world that you are experiencing. And it is changing the way the world is experiencing you. You, the young students who are out there, you are going to be the innovators, the creators of your own destiny, as the great Swami Vivekananda said. We are a country of 1.3 billion people. We have 1.4 million schools. We have 10,500 engineering and related institutions. We have 39,000 colleges. We have 150 million young students like you who are going to be entering into the workplace over the next 5 to 10 years. We have what they call as the demographic dividend, which is the envy of many a country. Very few countries possess this demographic dividend, this youthful energy coursing through the length and breadth of our nation. Very few countries have this transformative power that is there in front of me in this audience, right in front of all of us. Very few countries have that energy that can transform not only their own lives, not only transform the lives of the society around us, but also transform the lives of the world around us. We are indeed living in a world of uncertainty. If anything, the COVID-19 crisis, which descended upon us so swiftly, so starkly, so surprisingly and so devastatingly, if anything this COVID-19 has proved is that innovation, entrepreneurship, intellectual capability, values, science and spirituality is what has been able to bear this particular crisis. The crisis unleashed upon us, in no small measure, devastation to the extreme. It disrupted supply chains across the world. It disrupted lives and livelihoods. It disrupted national economic status. It created a fear in the minds of everybody as to what is there in the world ahead of us. What about other global pandemics lurking in the horizon? What about issues like climate change that we have been talking about, but which we have not experienced in its full ferocity? What about other disruptions to livelihoods across the world because of nationalistic fervors gripping various parts of the world, as you all know? Fervors that will disrupt supply chains even further. But in all of this, one thing came to the fore, and that is the world of science and technology. And of course, the importance of spirituality, culture and values. If these don't walk together, we are going to live in a world that will go into greater misery. But if we are able to walk together, and upon you, my dear young students, lies that future, lies that possibility, lies that golden opportunity. Because you're living in a world which is very different from the world that we were born into, that I was raised into, and that you are having a chance to experience. When I grew up, even in 1981, when I was graduating from one of the most prestigious engineering institutes of our country, the IIT Bombay, we didn't talk of innovation. We didn't talk of startups. We didn't talk of entrepreneurship. We were just looking for a good job to be able to get placed in, to be able to go to a university abroad, as many of the Indians did, to get into a good university, get good marks again, and go into a job which will be fulfilling and which will provide a security. That was okay for those days. India, with its 1.4 million schools, created a class of education and millions of engineers who were able to provide services to the rest of the world. But what got us to this point, a point where India is known as the emerging knowledge capital of the world, a point where we have $200 billion of ITS industry, a point to where I was part of the growth of the Indian IT revolution. We have come to a point where just rote learning, getting good marks, getting into a good university, or getting into a good job is not good enough. It's not good enough for you. As the great Abdul Kalam said, and he came from this very small, humble town of Rameshwaram, a town more known for its fishing boats than for its schools and universities, a town more known for its temples than for its engineering capability. From this small town came a small, humble, diminutive man who dreamt big. You have the advantage today, my dear young students, of growing in an emerging city like Mysuru. But he grew from the town of Rameshwaram. But he said in his book Ignite, dream big and you'll achieve great things. Dream small and you'll be limited by your own dreams. So my dear students, first and foremost, you should dare to dream and you should dream to dare. And this science and technology lab, these innovations lab, these sort of educational thrust that the Ramakrishna Vidyashala and Ramakrishna Mission is doing is providing that perfect ecosystem for you to be able to dare to dream. Dream to dare. The great Swami Vivekananda said, and I see his quotes everywhere here, if you have faith in 1,000 gods and goddesses, but do not have faith in yourselves, it is of no use. So, besides daring to dream and dreaming to dare, you should have tremendous faith in yourself. Faith that can move mountains, he says. Faith that can fill you with that energy, that yes, you can. And my dear young students, you all believe and we all believe and we are led to believe because of the growth of society, because of the way we self-impose limitations on us. We believe that we cannot be the innovators of the future. But you are indeed the innovators of the future. You are the job creators of the future. You are the creators and the transformers of the country of tomorrow and the nation that we all are going to live in. And why do I say this with great certainty? I say it because of a very fundamental fact. When you were born, you didn't know how to walk. You got up, you fell down, you got up again, you fell down again. But every time you got up, what did you do? You innovated. You innovated because of your own innate, innovative talent, intelligence and capability. The great Vivekananda says, education is just a manifestation of the perfection that is already inside you. Those are great words. If you realize the meaning of that, you realize that you are a born innovator. So you soon started to walk. You started to run. You started participating in national races and international competitions. And some of you, like Usain Bolt from a humble city of Kenya or a country of Kenya, rises on to become an Olympic champion. That is the power of innovation. The power of belief of what you have within you that should find an expression into the outside world through your creativity, through your effort, through your sincerity, through your passion, through your dedication, through the availability and the availing of the ecosystem that is being provided to you. I did meet a small group of students in the astronomy lab which I was visiting. I told them, this is your opportunity to study about space. India is among the leaders of space technology. ISRO is among the leaders in creating the lowest cost satellite vehicle launch vehicles, platforms. We and you, my dear young students, have now the ability with the science, technology, innovation labs and the astronomy labs available to you. How are you going to use it to create a ding in the universe? The great Steve Jobs, the founder of Apple and the phones that you use today, said, we all should leave a ding in the universe. Now what does leaving a ding in the universe mean? It means your life, our lives, should have a purpose and an impact beyond ourselves. We need to be able to leave an impact for society to experience and for the benefit of humanity. And that is possible, my dear young students. Like I said, you are all born innovators. Nobody taught you to talk. When you were observing the world as you were growing up, You listened to the sounds from outside. You started trying to emulate them. Some strange gurgling sounds came out of your mouth. You found that that was not fitting the pattern. You changed the pattern. You innovated. You started talking. You started singing. And now I have a wonderful set of young boys singing so rhythmically and enchanting the crowd. That, my dear young students, is the power of innovation. And that is why the Atal Innovation Mission was launched. And I am so fortunate to have become a part of that innovation bandwagon. You see, the nature of the Atal Innovation Mission, and for that matter, the need for innovation and entrepreneurship has never been greater than today. We are living in a world where it is possible to have affordable, accessible, available, and advanced technologies in your classroom, in your home, in the small kirana stores that are thriving all around this country. And every opportunity, every problem that you see or you complain about is actually an opportunity. We are a country with 650,000 villages. We have more than 715 districts, out of which 115 are called aspirational districts. And why are they called aspirational districts? Because we didn't want to tell them they are the lowermost districts. We wanted them to aspire to become better than what they were. And these aspirational districts are having the lowest scales of affordability, affordable healthcare, education, access to education, healthcare, hygiene, waste management, water management, clean drinking water and sanitation, livelihoods. These are all missing in our 115 of our 715 districts. Now, do you lament about it, or can we do something about it? And that, my dear young students, is the opportunity. Science and technology teaches us that every problem is actually an opportunity. An opportunity for you to become more curious about, to discover what are the possible solutions, to learn and acquire knowledge about tools and technologies that can create a solution, to ideate, to innovate, and to bring that innovation into expression through your product, through your service, through your entrepreneurship. And that, my students, is the opportunity in front of you. Like I said, we have 8,000 small towns and cities in our country. But most of you are only familiar with the 8 tier 1 cities that we have. Mumbai, Delhi, Chennai, Bangalore, etc., etc. There are 8 tier 1 cities, but there are 8,000 small towns and cities. India's future is only assured if these 8,000 towns and cities, and including Mysuru, become hubs of innovation and job creation, not just the 8 tier 1 cities. This is the great problem that we had during the COVID-19, where millions of migrant workers from all over the country who had flocked to these 8 tier 1 cities were trying to find their way back, and in the process experience so much misery. We cannot allow that. And that is why this culture of innovation, the culture of entrepreneurship, the culture of creating startups, the culture of creating a nation of job creators, not just job seekers, is absolutely paramount in our country. And my dear young students, you are going to be the job creators. Don't think that you will not become a job creator. But to become a job creator, to become an entrepreneur, you have to acquire an entrepreneurial mindset. And what does that mindset mean? That mindset means few things. It means you become dreamers, but you also become the architects who will convert that dream into reality. That is what an entrepreneurial mindset means. Everything is actually captured in the word dream. Just look at it. The D stands for dare to dream and dream to dare. The R in the dream stands for rise to your full potential. You have tremendous potential inside you. As the great Swami Yukteshnandaji said, rouse that potential from within you. Rouse that energies and let it manifest itself. Reach to the highest levels that you can reach. And yes, you will. Yes, I can, said Barack Obama, and became and rose to become the first black president of the United States. A black man in a country where slavery was existent for such a long time. But he said, yes, I can. and he rose on to become the first black president of the United States. So yes, you can. You should say to yourself and rise to your full potential. And your potential is infinite, is enormous. You allow yourself to limit yourself to the potential. And that is what the great Abdul Kalam meant. That dream big and you will achieve great things. Dream small, you will be limited by your own dream. The E in the dream stands for education, leading to empowerment. But it has to be coupled with empathy. Empowerment comes through acquisition of knowledge, acquisition of tools and technologies, getting familiar with them. That is why the tinkering lab is so very important. The tinkering lab allows you to experiment, play in an atmosphere of fun and learning, and learn how 3D printing, robotics, electronics, Arduino boards or Raspberry Pis, augmented virtual reality, cloud services, all of these can make a difference to solve the problem that you are seeing. And so what are the problems that you see around the world? You don't have to look elsewhere. Nobody has to teach you what are the problems to be solved. You walk from your home to your school. You walk from your school to the mall. You walk from the mall to the nearest playground. You see the world around you, you will see the problems. You'll see the problems that people experience. You go to the farm, you'll see the problem that the farmer experiences. You go to the hilly areas of our country, you see the problems in electricity and water management and affordable housing that they experience. You go to the cities, you see the problems related to climate change and emission control and lack of traffic management and so on. So every one of these problems, my dear young students, is an opportunity. An opportunity for exercising your innovative capability and creating your startup and creating your entrepreneurial impact upon the world. And that is what these science, technology, innovation labs and all these astronomy labs are exposing you to. The opportunity in India is tremendous. We have that demographic dividend, like I said. All of you should team among yourselves. You know, that is something called 21st century skills, which are very different from the skills that we acquired. We wanted knowledge of physics, chemistry, maths. All of us wanted to become a medical doctor or an engineer or a scientist, but we did not try to become problem solvers. And that is what the new education has to emphasize on. Can you become the problem solvers of the future? Education empowers you to become problem solvers. And my dear young students, that problem solving capability only comes with empathy. Now what is empathy? Empathy is putting yourself in the other person's shoes. You see the blind man crossing the road, struggling, waiting for the traffic to clear, not sure whether he should take the next step. You empathize with that blind person, that differently able person. And then you say, what can help in crossing that road? Can I, for example, use a helmet, a sensor technology based helmet, which can survey the world around me and warn the wearer of the helmet that this is now the time to cross the road. And there you have created a new solution. You have created a new startup. And there are millions of such people, the Divyangjan as they call, in our own country or across the world that are deprived of a good life because of lack of technology. And you, my dear students, should create those technology solutions, that innovation. You have that ability. Therefore, the E in the dream stands for empathy, because only when you empathize, you detect the problem. And only when you detect the problem, you start solving the problem. The A in the dream stands for action. We cannot just be dreamers. We need to be able to act upon our aspiration, act upon our dream. And action comes only when you have a plan in front of you. It won't come just by wishing. So that is why the discipline is so important. That is why a holistic approach is so very important. What we need is muscles of iron and nerves of steel, inside which dwells a mind of the same material, said Vivekananda. What powerful words are these? You cannot just become an innovator without having a holistic approach towards developing your body and having the discipline to be able to carry out great acts for the future. So my dear young students, you need to translate that dream into an action plan with measurements, with milestones that you can continuously improve upon. Every time you draw an action plan, you should say, have I achieved something during this year that I set out to achieve? And if I have achieved that, then it is great. Let me now raise the bar. If I have not achieved that, then what should I do to correct myself and be able to achieve that dream? That is when dreams become reality. The M in the dream is making and meeting commitments. You see, any great achievement that anybody has done in life has been when they have made a commitment to themselves that they are going to do it and they're going to achieve it. And when they meet that commitment. Meeting commitments is not telling somebody else, I will meet the commitment. Meeting commitment is meeting a commitment that you have made to yourself. You are the judge of whether you have met the commitment or not. Nobody else needs to monitor it for you. It is a self-imposed corrective action. And when you meet the commitment, you start making a difference to the society. The S in the dreams is who is going to be the benefactor of your dreams. It is society which is going to have an impact. A society which is going to feel it. If you have not got a larger purpose in your life beyond just accumulating money for yourself or for your family and making an impact to society, it is of no use. So my dear young students, let us all dream big. Let us achieve great things for our country. The Atmanirbhar Bharat that the Honorable Prime Minister talks about is a Bharat, is a country where a country is able to stand and each one of us is able to stand on our own legs, not only for ourselves, but for the rest of the world. There are 5 pillars of Atmanirbhar Bharat. The first pillar is the pillar of demographic dividend that I talked about, where education, empowering education, whether it is for the girl child or for the boy child, whether it is for the differently abled or the abled people, whether it is for the economically deprived or for the economically well-off, you need to ensure that education, empowering education is available for all. The second pillar is the pillar of demand. We have 1.3 billion people in our country. They have tremendous demand, whether it is affordable healthcare, education, water, waste management, and so on. You know the problem of waste management, why I talk about, and I am very happy that one of the students, I think it is Gupta, who got this award for the social app that he has built. Waste management, if you do not address the problem of waste management, by 2030 in Delhi, a size of the city of Delhi is needed to hold the waste that is being generated in the NCR region. Now imagine that problem. Imagine the problems to healthcare, hygiene as a result of all of this. And therefore, my dear young students, you need to be able to address this. And now you have robotics, which can segregate organic and inorganic waste. You have electronic technologies, which can reuse your electronics waste, and so on and so forth. Augmented reality, virtual reality can help in your education by extending the domain and collaboration of education across schools, across countries. You have the internet, which allows you global access to data, to teachers, to training, to quality education. How do you leverage that for your own benefit and for the rest of the world? And these are all the things that are required to be able to address this demand. Leveraging technology like 3D printing, robotics, IoT or miniaturized electronics, sensor technology which are getting embedded into man, machine, device, soil, space, precision agriculture which enables a country like Israel to manufacture and export food from a desert. Imagine exporting food from a desert, and that's done because of precision agriculture, because of IoT technologies. They export water from the desert because they are using sensor technologies to extract the water from the moisture in the atmosphere, from the clouds or when it rains, and they are able to access that and convert it to drinking water. There is huge technology being used for desalination of the seawater across many countries. I recently visited Dubai in the Expo 2020, and an entire section for ocean innovation is being done by Norway. They showed about the Sustainable Development Goals. I hope every one of you, and I'm sure all Atal Tinkering Labs are familiar with the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, the SDG goals. There are 17 goals, and these are the goals that need to be solved, not the economic problems of the GDP of a country, but these Sustainable Development Goals, elimination of poverty, elimination of hunger, elimination of inequality in education, availability of houses to live in, availability of livelihoods. These are all, there are 17 such goals which are climate change related issues. These are all needed to be addressed. But these, my dear young students, are the opportunities for you. So, as the great Swami Vivekananda said, let us all arise, awake, and stop not till our goals are reached. So let us arise to the challenges, but more importantly, to the opportunities that are present in front of you. Let us awaken from within ourselves that latent talent, that creativity, that curiosity, that enthusiasm and the ability to contribute to the rest of the world using your intelligence. And let us stop not till the goals of the world as well as that of Atmanirbhar Bharat are reached. Thank you so much for giving me an opportunity to share a few thoughts on today's occasion.
Dr. Ramanan, as the chief guest of one of our college day celebrations, had mesmerized the audience, and it was one of the best speeches heard on the stage of Vidyashala. He gave us a glimpse once again of the ability to grip the audience with his wonderful repertoire of his skills. We are thankful to you, sir, for making our students help understanding their abilities by committed hard work and fulfilling their dreams. Thank you, sir. Our guest of honor, Srimati Jyoti Bailur, sister of Alumnus, and donor Dr. Jagadish S. Gangolly, is now requested to speak a few words.
ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ. ಈಗಾಗಲೇ ನೀವು ನನ್ನ ಅಣ್ಣ ಜಗದೀಶನ ಬಗ್ಗೆ, ಅವನ ಅಕಾಡೆಮಿಕ್ಸು, ಆಮೇಲೆ ಪ್ರೊಫೆಷ್ನಲ್ ಲೈಫ್ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ನೀವು ಮಿಸ್ಟರ್ ನರೇಂದ್ರ ಕೆ ಅವರಿಂದ ಕೇಳಿದ್ದೀರಿ. ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ನನಗೆ ಏನು ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಹೇಳಬೇಕಂತಿಲ್ಲ. ಆದರೆ ಅವನದು ಪರ್ಸ್ನಲ್ ಮನೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಹೇಗೆ ವಾತಾವರಣ ಇತ್ತು, ಆಮೇಲೆ ಅವನು ಮನೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಏನೇನು ಮಾಡ್ತಾಯಿದ್ದ, ಈ ಶಾಲೆಗೆ ಹೇಗೆ ಬಂದ, ಆಮೇಲೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಶಾಲೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಏನೇನು ಕಲಿತ ಅಂತ ನಾನು ಒಂದು 4 ಮಾತನ್ನು ಹೇಳ್ತೀನಿ. ಸಣ್ಣವನಿರಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಅವನು ತುಂಬ ಈ ಗೌರ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಶಾಲೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಉಪಯೋಗ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಅವನಿಗೆಲ್ಲರೂ ಒಂದು ಪ್ರೈವೇಟ್ ಶಾಲೆಗೆ ಕಳಿಸ್ಬೇಕು, ಆಮೇಲೆ ಹಾಸ್ಟೆಲಲ್ಲಿ ಕಳಿಸ್ಬೇಕು. ಅಂದರೆ ಅಜ್ಜಿ ಅಜ್ಜ ಎಲ್ಲ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ, ತುಂಬ ಮುದ್ದು ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ, ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ಏನು ಮನೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಸರಿ ಹೋಗೋದಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಅವನಿಗೆ ಹಾಸ್ಟೆಲ್ಗೆ ಕಳಿಸೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಅಂದರೆ ಎಲ್ಲೂ ಕೇಳಿ ಕಳಿಸೋದು, ರಿಷಿ ವ್ಯಾಲಿ ಕಳಿಸೋದಾ ಅಥವಾ ಲವ್ಡೇಲ್ ಊಟಿ ಕಳಿಸ್ಬೇಕಾ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಆಲೋಚನೆ ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ನಮ್ಮ ತಂದೆಗೆ ಯಾರೋ ಹೇಳಿದರು, ಅವ್ರ ಸೋದರ ಮಾವನಿಗೆ ಹೇಳಿದರು, ನೀನು ಮೈಸೂರಲ್ಲಿ ರಾಮಕೃಷ್ಣ ವಿದ್ಯಾಶಾಲೆ ಅಂತ ಇದೆ, ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾಕೆ ಕಳಿಸೋದಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂತೇಳಿ. ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ಅವನು ಕಡೆಗೆ ನಮ್ಮ ತಂದೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಬಂದು ಎಲ್ಲ ವಿಚಾರಿಸಿ, ಆಮೇಲೆ ಅಮ್ಮ ಹೇಳಿದರು, ನಾನು ದೂರ ಕಳಿಸಬಾರ್ದು, ಹತ್ತಿರ ಇರಬೇಕು, ಮನೆ ಹತ್ರ ಇರಬೇಕು ಅಂತೇಳಿ. ಆದರೆ ಇಲ್ಲ, ಇದು ತುಂಬ ದೂರ ಇಲ್ಲ, ಒಂದು 8 ಗಂಟೆಯೊಳಗೆ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಮುಟ್ಬೋದು, ಹುಷಾರಿಲ್ಲದ್ರೆ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಎಲ್ಲ ಸರಿ ಹೋಗುತ್ತೆ, ಅಲ್ಲೆಲ್ಲ ಸರಿ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ, ಮಕ್ಕಳಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ಬೇರೆ ಮಕ್ಕಳ ಜೊತೆ ಅವನು ಹೊಂದ್ಕೊಳ್ತಾನೆ ಅಂತ. ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ಅವನಿಗೆ ಕಳಿಸಿದ್ರು ವಿದ್ಯಾಶಾಲೆಯಲ್ಲಿ. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಬಂದ ಮೇಲೆ ಅವನಿಗೆ ಮನೆಯಲ್ಲಿದ್ದ ಸೌಕರ್ಯಗಳು ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಸಿಗ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಅವನಿಗೆ ತನ್ನ ಪ್ಲೇಟು ತೊಳಿಬೇಕು, ಬಾತ್ರೂಮ್ ತೊಳಿಬೇಕು, ಅದು ಹಾಗೆಲ್ಲ ಅದೆಲ್ಲ ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಅವನಿಗೆ ನಾನು ಮನೇಲಿ ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ, ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾಕೆ ಬಂದು ಮಾಡಬೇಕು, ನಾನು ಮನೆಗೆ ಬರ್ತೀನಿ ಅಂತ ಅಳ್ಳಿಕ್ಕೆ ಶುರು ಮಾಡ್ದ. ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ಅವನು ತಂದೆ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರು, ಅವನಿಗೆ ನಾನು ಕರ್ಕೊಂಡು ಬರ್ತೀನಿ, ಏನು ಉಪಯೋಗ ಇಲ್ಲ ಅವನಲ್ಲಿ, ಮನೆಯಲ್ಲೇ ಕಲೀಲಿ ಅಂತ. ಆಮೇಲೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರು, ಇಲ್ಲ ಇವನು ಮನೇಲಿದ್ರೆ ಇನ್ನೂ ಹಾಳಾಗ್ತಾನೆ, ಅಲ್ಲೇ ಇರಲಿ ಹಾಗೆ ಅವನಿಗೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಕಂಟಿನ್ಯೂ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದು. ಆಮೇಲೆ ಒಂದು ಸಲ 1-2 ತಿಂಗಳಾದಮೇಲೆ ನಮ್ಮ ತಂದೆ ಪುನಃ ಬಂದರು. ಸ್ವಾಮೀಜಿಗಳೆಲ್ಲ ಇದ್ದರು, ನೀವು ಪ್ರತಿ ಸಲ ಆಗಾಗ ಬರಬೇಡಿ, 1-2 ತಿಂಗಳಿಗೆ ಒಂದು ಸಲ ಬಂದರೆ ಸಾಕು, ಅದು ನಾವು ಬೇಕಾದರೆ ನಾವು ಕರಿತೀವಿ, ಹುಷಾರಿಲ್ಲದೆ ನಾವು ನೋಡ್ಕೊಳ್ತೀವಿ, ಇಲ್ಲಿದ್ರೆ ಆಗದಿದ್ದರೆ ನೀವು ಬಂದು ಕರ್ಕೊಂಡು ಹೋಗಿ ಅಂತೇಳಿ. ಹಾಗೆ ನಮ್ಮ ತಂದೆ 1-2 ತಿಂಗಳಿಗೆ ಒಂದು ಸಲ ಬಂದು ಆಮೇಲೆ ಅವನೇ ಹೇಳ್ದ, ನೀನು 2 ತಿಂಗಳಿಗೆ ಬರಬೇಡ, ಇನ್ನು ನಾನೇ ನೋಡ್ಕೊಳ್ತೀನಿ, ನನಗೆ ಅಭ್ಯಾಸ ಆಗಿದೆ ಅಂತ ಈ ಮಕ್ಕಳ ಜೊತೆ. ಆಮೇಲೆ ಈಗ ಶಾಲೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಎಲ್ಲ ಮಕ್ಕಳು ಒಟ್ಟಿಗೆ ಮಲಗೋದು ಒಂದೇ ರೂಮಲ್ಲಿ, ಡಾರ್ಮಿಟ್ರಲ್ಲಿ. ಆಗ ಅವನಿಗೆ ಏನಾಯಿತು, ನಮ್ಮ ಮನೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ತುಂಬ ದನಗಳಿದ್ದವು. ದನಗಳ ಹಾಲು ತುಂಬ. ಅಮ್ಮ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರು, ಅವನಿಗೆ ಪಾಪ ಹಾಸ್ಟೆಲಲ್ಲಿ ಬೇಡ ತಿನ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಸಿಗೋದಿಲ್ಲ, ಅವನಿಗೆ ನಾನು ಮನೇಲಿ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ಕೊಡ್ತೀನಿ, ನೀನು ತಗೊಂಡೋಗಿ ಕೊಡು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದರು. ಒಂದು ದೊಡ್ಡ ಡಬ್ಬದಲ್ಲಿ ತುಂಬಿಸ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಕಳಿಸಿದ್ರು. ಆಮೇಲೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಕಳಿಸಿದಾಗ ಅವನು ನೋಡಿದ ಡಬ್ಬ ಖುಷಿ ಆಯಿತು. ಆದರೆ ಸ್ವಾಮೀಜಿಗಳು ಬಂದು ಹೇಳಿದರು, ಆಗ ವಾರ್ಡನ್ನು ಸ್ವಾಮಿ ಕೇಶವಾನಂದಜಿ ಇದ್ದರು, ಅವರು ಹೇಳಿದರಂತೆ, ನೀನು ಒಬ್ಬನೇ ತಿನ್ನಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಆಗೋದಿಲ್ಲ, ಇಷ್ಟು ನಿನ್ನ ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಇಡಬಾರ್ದು, ನೀನು ಎಲ್ಲ ಮಕ್ಕಳ ಜೊತೆ ಹಂಚ್ಕೊಂಡು ತಿನ್ನಬೇಕು ಅಂತ. ಆಯಿತಾ, ಇವನಿಗೆ ಮನಸ್ಸಿಲ್ಲ. ಹಾಗೆ ಆಮೇಲೆ ಏನು ಮಾಡಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಉಪಾಯ ಇಲ್ಲ, ಸ್ವಾಮೀಜಿಯವರು ಹೇಳಿ ಕೇಳಲೇಬೇಕು. ಹಾಗೆ ಅಂತ ಅವನು ಕಡೆಗೆ ಎಲ್ಲರೂ ಹಂಚಿ ತಿಂದ್ಬಿಟ್ಟ. ಆಮೇಲೆ ಅವನು ಹೇಳ್ತಾನೆ ಮನೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಅವನಿಗೆ, ನೀನು ಮುಂದಿನ ಸಾರಿ ನಂಗೆ ಕಳಿಸ್ಬೇಡ, ನನಗೆ ಒಂದೇ ತುಂಡು ಸಿಕ್ತು, ಬಾಕಿ ಎಲ್ಲ ಮಕ್ಕಳಿಗೆ ಹಚ್ಚೋಯ್ತು. ಹೀಗೆ ಸಣ್ಣ ಮಕ್ಕಳ ವಿಚಾರ ಆಮೇಲೆ ಕಲಿತಾರೆ ಶಾಲೆಗೆ ಬಂದು. ಈ ಹಾಸ್ಟೆಲಲ್ಲಂತೂ ಇನ್ನೂ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಅವರದ್ದು ಶಿಸ್ತು, ಟೈಮಿಗೆ ಸರಿಯಾಗಿ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡೋದು, ಆಮೇಲೆ ವಿನಯ, ದೊಡ್ಡವರಿಗೆ ರೆಸ್ಪೆಕ್ಟ್ ಕೊಡೋದು, ಆಮೇಲೆ ಬೇರೆ ಬೇರೆ ವಿಷಯಗಳನ್ನು ವಿಚಾರ ಮಾಡೋದು, ಆಮೇಲೆ ಅಭಿರುಚಿಗಳು. ಯಾಕಂದರೆ ಅವನು ಸಂಗೀತದಲ್ಲಿ ಅವನಿಗೆ ತುಂಬ ಇಂಟ್ರೆಸ್ಟ್ ಇತ್ತು ಹೇಳಿದ್ದಾಗೆ. ಅವನು ಆಮೇಲೆ ಸರೋದ್ ಬಾರಿಸಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಕಲಿತ. ಅದೇ ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ಅವನಿಗೆ ಟೀಚರ್ಸ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಸೈನ್ಸ್ ಟೀಚರ್ಸು, ಮ್ಯಾಥ್ಸ್ ಟೀಚರ್ಸ್ ತುಂಬ ಇಷ್ಟ. ಆಮೇಲೆ ಮ್ಯೂಸಿಕ್ ಟೀಚರ್ ಕೂಡ. ಹಾಗೆ ನೋಡಿ ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ಶಾಲೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಕಲಿತಾಗ ಆಮೇಲೆ ಮುಂದೆ ಅದನ್ನೇ ಆ ವಿಷಯದಲ್ಲಿ ಅವರು ಇಂಟ್ರೆಸ್ಟ್ ತಗೊಳ್ತಾರೆ. ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಮುಂದೆ ತುಂಬ ಇಂಪ್ರೂವ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಇನ್ನೊಂದಂದರೆ ಅವನಿಗೆ ಪುಸ್ತಕ ಓದ್ತಾ ಇರಲಿಲ್ಲ ಮನೆಯಲ್ಲಿ. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಬಂದ ಮೇಲೆ ಪುಸ್ತಕ ಓದೋ ಅಭ್ಯಾಸ ಆಯಿತು. ಅದರ ಹವ್ಯಾಸ ಈಗಲೂ ಅಷ್ಟೇ, 1 ನಿಮಿಷ ಹಾಳು ಮಾಡೋದಿಲ್ಲ. ಏನೋ ಒಂದು ಸಂಶೋಧನೆ ಮಾಡೋ ಹಾಗೆ ಓದ್ತಾನೆ ಅವನು. ಪ್ರತಿಯೊಂದು ಪುಸ್ತಕ, ಪ್ರತಿಯೊಂದರಲ್ಲಿ ಅವನಿಗೆ ಸಂಶೋಧನೆ ಕಾಣ್ತದೆ. ಅದೇ ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ಈ ಶಾಲೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಕಲಿಬೇಕು. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಶಾಲೆಯಲ್ಲೇ ಸಿಗುತ್ತೆ, ಅದು ಹಾಸ್ಟೆಲಲ್ಲಿ ಅಂದರೆ ಇನ್ನೂ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ. ನಾನು ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ನೀವು ಮಕ್ಕಳೆಲ್ಲ ತುಂಬ ಲಕ್ಕಿ. ನಾನು ಮನೆಯಲ್ಲೇ ನಿಂತು ಕಲಿತಿದ್ದೆ, ಆದರೆ ಇವತ್ತು ನನ್ನ ಅಣ್ಣ ಯಾವುದೋ ಒಂದು ದೊಡ್ಡ ಶಿಖರದಲ್ಲಿ ಇದ್ದಾನೆ ನನ್ನನ್ನು ಕಂಪೇರ್ ಮಾಡಿದರೆ. ಈ ಅವಸರ ಸಿಕ್ಕಿದ್ರೆ ಎಷ್ಟೋ ಒಳ್ಳೆಯದು, ನಿಮಗೆಲ್ಲ ಇದೆ, ಅದರ ಸದುಪಯೋಗ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ನಾನು ನಿಮ್ಮನ್ನು ಬೇಡ್ಕೊಳ್ತೇನೆ. ಆಮೇಲೆ ಇಷ್ಟು ಹೇಳಿ ನಾನು ಮುಗಿಸ್ತೇನೆ. ಸ್ವಾಮೀಜಿಗಳಿಗೆ, ನಿಮ್ಮೆಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ, ಟೀಚರ್ಸ್ಗಳಿಗೂ ಹಿಂದೆ ಕೂತಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಅವರಿಗೂ ನನ್ನ ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ, ನನ್ನ ಅಭಿನಂದನೆಗಳು. ಅದೇ ಮಕ್ಕಳಿಗೆ ನನ್ನ ಮಾತುಗಳನ್ನು ಕೇಳಿದ್ದಕ್ಕೆ ತುಂಬ ಸಂತೋಷ. ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಯು ವೆರಿ ಮಚ್.
Vidyashala will always remain indebted to the Gangolly family for enabling us build a science and innovation lab. It will help our students to get into the depth of science and help innovate better technology that will change the world for better. Possibly, we also cherish that we are likely to have a Nobel laureate in this audience, in this group of young minds. Sir has just pointed out, Ramanan sir has just pointed out the kinds of dreams that they should have. Possibly they'll bring laurels not only to the school but also to the country. Thank you, ma'am. I reverentially now request our Adhyaksha, Swamiji revered Swami Muktidanandaji Maharaj to give the Benedictory address. Swamiji.
Sarve Janaha Sukhino Bhavantu Sri Ramakrishna Sharanam. Our very dear Yukteshnandaji Maharaj, the correspondent of Ramakrishna Vidyashala, brother monks, chief guest of today's function, Dr. R. Ramanan, Mrs. Ramanan, Principal Balaji, staff members, and our guest of honor, Jyoti Bailur, and Bailur ji is also here with us. Very distinguished invitees and my dear students. We are here as a part of the inauguration of the Science and Innovation Lab, very ceremonially inaugurated today morning by Dr. R. Ramanan and Jyoti Bailur in the presence of so many other dignitaries, and here we are also to intensely pay our grateful thanks to Sri Jagadish Gangolly, whose vision, whose will, whose intense aspiration to do something to his dear alma mater, Sri Ramakrishna Vidyashala, has resulted in this Science and Innovation Lab. You have seen, I spoke briefly, but if you observe how Vidyashala has taught him how to be a great human, true human being, how his life was transformed, and that innate gratitude he had for the institution, because he sees a great change and Vidyashala is an instrument of transformation, instrument which educational power which uplifts the mind. A young boy who comes from village or a home, who ingathers so many values here beyond academics. Though academic is in the center of Vidyashala, but I have counted here, apart from to read, to write, to remember subjects and writing examination, there are 67 or 69 good habits. They are on everyday basis you are made to undergo. Everyday routine seems to be very challenging for new boys. Later on you get used to it. But I have seen the result of Vidyashala routine education by hundreds of old boys who on their own told us, not by our asking. Swamiji, what I am today is Vidyashala, what I have learned. So many things I can go on for about 5 to 6 hours. What our old boys have told about Vidyashala, how it has helped them to transform their life, and what they are today is because of this great institution. So this Vidyashala is so because at the root of Vidyashala there is renunciation, no selfishness in the system. Second, Vidyashala is student-centered. Everything is for the students here. Our Shambhavanandaji was dreaming about a kind of a school. An ordinary children, even from a village, will get an emperor child's facility. That kind of a vision, Shambhavanandaji, everything good, everything great we should have. Not only that, he was very, very particular about the discipline. Vidyashala's other name is discipline. Discipline is what makes our boys excellent in behavior. Vidyashala boys are known for many great achievements. But Vidyashala boys are very much known for their excellence in behavior and reliability in the outside world. I have a number of anecdotes which others have told. One of the Reserve Bank officer talked. She's a lady. She saw among her 3 to 4 persons working in Chennai. And one boy appeared to be so very different. And he's so very perfect and his behavior, humility. She asked him, "So just for, are you from any Ramakrishna mission school?" She asked. She told me, "Yes, I am from Ramakrishna Vidyashala." That is how the credibility of the Vidyashala boys. But I do not mean that all those who passed out of Vidyashala are great angels. No. Life has its own ups and downs. There are difficulties, there are challenges. Anyway, Vidyashala is not, what I am trying to say is, today we have inaugurated this Science Innovation Lab, which has taken Vidyashala miles and miles ahead in envisioning our future education, which should intensely centered in innovation and problem-solving ability of the students. Dr. Ramanan told, he has told the brilliant delivery. I hope all the students have heard him very attentively and registered in your memory all he has said. After today, when you get your diary or my search for great idea book is given to you, please recall and write down what are the important points that Mr. Ramanan and other chief guests have told, and see that otherwise it will evaporate. So, problem-solving ability is an important thing which we all have to learn. We should not add problem to the society, burden to the society, but solve the problems of the society. That is a very important thing. Not only go on aspiring for more and more. How are we to give back to the society? What are the problems of the society? If the education does not make a student, a citizen, a budding citizen of the student, to think of the problems of the country and problems of the society and find the ways and means of solving it, all other developments are, I don't know where it is going to lead us. Two things are very important in education. One is the ability to solve the problems of the society. Second thing is excellence in human behavior. The whole world world is suffering because of this. Whatever you may have, Swamiji says, if you have even Kubera's wealth, if you do not have certain amount of value system, contentment and higher values, you will be miserable. The world is still passing through misery in spite of so much of science and technology, so much of improvement. That is why Einstein says science can denature plutonium, but not the wickedness of human heart. Science can denature plutonium. It's so difficult. The radioactive element is to change its nature. But then the wicked people we see here everywhere, every day you read in the newspaper. We ourselves are facing here in Mysuru to make a Viveka Smaraka a top legal luminary in one of the speech in Bangalore, referring to the Mysuru problem, what we have seen in 10 years, utter lawlessness. To build a service center by institution like Ramakrishna Mission, which government calls and gives, only Ramakrishna Mission comes and give. And then one newspaper and 8 to 9, not even 10, vested interest people, politically motivated people, passing through an endless series of court cases which we have won, even in spite of that 3 governments, and now all the government which is in sentence, one government which has made the GO and handed it over to us, cannot hand over the charge. 10 years. They are making us as though we are interested. Actually, Ramakrishna Mission is not interested in reckless expansion at the cost of quality. Bailur Mutt is inundated with the number of requests from all over the country, all over the world to take over and start institution funds and land. Endless. We have to say no. We want youngsters fired with the ideal of renunciation and service, not the money and the land. That is I myself have introduced to the General Secretary 7 to 8 people from various parts of the country. They want to hand over the whole institution of 30-40 years. Maharaj, please, they say, give nice prasad and everything. Tell them, please continue whenever it is possible. Say in future we want youngsters. Anyway, by the way, this point came. So what is important is, unless human behavior is changed, education should help the change of the human behavior, and the modern science is a tremendous, great tool. And the comforts and the capability that the science and electronics have given today to us, maybe 100 or 1,000 times more than the previous century. And unless we induct a higher human values, higher human aspiration, just now Chief Guest told, science and spirituality and higher values. Science and spirituality means not religion of various denominations. Religion means its core is spirituality. Spirituality means search for truth about ourselves. We are death-bound beings. Before we die, we ought to know who we are, and that is the purpose of religion. To know the truth about ourselves, beyond this perishable body, mind and ego, who we are. Everybody who is born will come and go. Before that, can we know who we are? What is the eternal, undying content of our personality? That is what the business of religion or the purpose of religion or its core, the values are enshrined in what is called spirituality or yoga. So science and spirituality and great behavior are commingled in Vidyashala life. Vidyashala gives tremendous importance to science. I myself, during my 23 years, so many students have gone to the Delhi for the science seminar, from district level and from state level to the national level. And we ourselves have guided at least 3 students to the national level. And then Vidyashala, with this addition of Science and Innovation Lab, and Ramanan placed before you in his brilliant speech the modern trends, what was the trends of science in yesteryear, the humanistic approach, what Swami Vivekananda wants us to do, or any great mind wants us to do, what is the future of mankind with regard to science, technology, and peace and harmony and well-being of the human mind, human existence. This we have to give in totality. So, Atmanirbhar Bharat, its value system, its pillars he narrated, and we are grateful to our Ramanan for responding to our invitation, coming along with Gita Ramanan to be with us for a day and delivering such a beautiful delivery. I'm sure our students will cherish in their memory for a long time to come. And we are also grateful to Jyoti Bailur for making it a point to come here along with Shraddha Bailur ji and being a part of this great program to which is the generosity, the philanthropy and great vision of Jagadish Gangolly, who intensely aspired to do something, a meaningful addition to the Vidyashala, and his love and respect for his teachers, the Principal Jagannath, Principal V.S. Srikantaya, S.V. Ramaswamy, and T. Subramaniam. He adored how a student has adored the great memories of his teachers. When you have respect for elders and teachers, only somewhere I heard, only that mind will progress, that life will progress. If you are disrespectful to your parents, if you are disrespectful to your elders, teachers, there is something is wrong with your innate psyche. Jesh Shastra says, Jeshtaha Shreshtaha. Respect the elders. Knowledge comes from the higher level to the lower level. All the elders of the yesteryear, whatever they have thought, have done, and which are transmitted to in the form of education, culture and civilization. So you should be grateful to the elders. That is one of the hallmark of any good human being. That is what is called Vidya Dadati Vinayam. That is excellence in behavior. Please, boys, just see that as a student of Vidyashala or the student of the citizen of this country, please see that you will value the excellence in behavior and serve for the service for the society. Aspire, intensely yearn to give something to the society. That problem solving ability. What are the problems of the society? What way I can solve? Not only wanting to grab and, you need to develop your personality, you need to develop your capability to give back. That is, of course, is the purpose of the education. But the giving back nowadays is forgotten. Taking from the society is the only thing. How much more I can get, how much I can give and solve problem, that should rule our mind. With this, I conclude that such a beautiful program was organized at a very short time. We have been struggling to have this program since last 1 year. But because of the COVID and so many other problems, certain part of this science lab, construction got delayed for a few months because of the COVID and other things. In spite of that, our contractor Prabhakar, our architect, and all the people worked together and saw that we wanted to see that we should inaugurated, we wanted the presence of Jagadish Gangolly. But then, because of his ill health and this corona, he was not able to come. Swamiji, please go ahead with the inauguration. I am requesting my sister Jyoti Bailur to come and witness, and I will send the message, and the video of this program will be sent to you. So, he has contributed $1 lakh for this Science and Innovation Lab. It is our joint responsibility to see that every bit of it is utilized properly, and it should really enhance the vision of science as he has dreamt it. And our students should go all hog into the innovation of the science, an innovative approach to transform the society, an innovative approach to your own self-development and develop your personality. With this I conclude, and thanking one and all who have all helped to make this occasion and make this Science and Innovation Lab a possible by their direct and indirect contribution. Thank you.
Our Adhyaksha Maharaj leaves no stone unturned, guiding and supporting the school in the implementation of various projects for the benefit of the school. Our sincere thanks to you, Swamiji. Our respected principal, Sri S. Balaji, is requested to propose the vote of thanks.
Pranams to Swamijis, respects to all your elders. Good afternoon to all dear children. It's a story which started at Himalayas and ended at Chamundi Hills, Mysuru. Revered Swami Muktidanandaji Maharaj was the head of Mayavati Ashrama, and we were doing our mundane things here. And all of a sudden we received a call from Swamiji explaining the details of Atal Tinkering Lab, and that was the origin, in fact. And today we have this beautiful ceremony. Thank you, Swamiji. Thank you, sir, for granting us Atal Tinkering Lab. I don't want to take much of your time because it's already late, but it'll be failing in my duties if I don't acknowledge the great service rendered by our own Dr. Jagadish Gangolly. Because of his philanthropic, act, because of his love, we convey our loving thanks to Dr. Jagadish Gangolly for his benevolence, and it's befitting that Sir's sister, Srimati Jyoti Bailur, and respected Sir Shri Sharad Bailur are here with us during this program today. Thank you, sir. Thank you, madam, for all the kindness. I'm a big fan of Dr. R. Ramanan, sir, because even today, even on that day, I was the principal of this institution. I had the privilege of sitting on the stage and listening to the brilliant extempore oratory skills of Dr. Ramanan. How I wish I also had at least 5% of his brilliance.
He presented that Rudyard Kipling's If, the whole thing.
Yes. He's a highly knowledgeable person. He has in-depth knowledge of not only science and technology but also literature. He in detail explained Rudyard Kipling's work on the stage. I still remember that brilliant act. Normally chief guest stands behind the lectern and speaks, but sir took the mic, went to the middle of the stage and spoke, and 3,000 crowd was impressed. From that day onwards, I was just wondering how about my present batch getting the opportunity of listening to such a great speaker. And yes, because of Swami Muktidanandaji, everything, almost all impossible things become possible when revered Swami Muktidanandaji is here. Because of Swamiji, Dr. Ramanan sir is here, and we all could hear first Sir is such a busy person. He holds a very high position at the national level. Amidst his busy schedule, he made it convenient to be with us. He is amidst us today, and he has spent a lot of time with us from morning. It was a very hectic schedule, in fact, and he has travelled all the distance from Mumbai. And we are very fortunate that Srimati Geeta Ramanan is also here with us. And on behalf of the institution and on my own behalf, we extend our respectful thanks to our chief guest and Madam. Yes, we teachers in Vidyashala are very, very happy today because this beautiful, our administration, we cannot call them as administrators because they are like our parents. They love us so much, they respect so much. The science lab, that beautiful science lab is dedicated to the teachers of Sri Ramakrishna Vidyashala. On behalf of all the teachers, we can never pronounce to Swamiji for this brilliant decision. And yes, very fondly, very lovingly, very respectfully we remember ex-principal Sri Jagannath sir, our principal Sri B.S. Srikanteya sir, G.S. Subramaniam sir, and our loving Sri Ramaswamy sir. Ramaswamy sir ಅವರು ನಾನು ಕಂಡಿರುವಂಥ ಅತ್ಯಂತ ಅದ್ಭುತ ವಿಜ್ಞಾನ ಶಿಕ್ಷಕರಲ್ಲಿ ಒಬ್ಬರು. ಅವರು ಈ ಶಾಲೆಗೆ ವಿಜ್ಞಾನ ಕ್ಷೇತ್ರದಲ್ಲಿ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿರುವಂಥ ಕೊಡುಗೆ ಅಪಾರ. ಅವ್ರ ಜೊತೆಗೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನಮ್ಮ ಹೆಜ್ಜೆ ಅನಂತರಾಮಯ್ಯ ಸರ್ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ, KP ಅನಂತ ಪದ್ಮನಾಭ್ ಸರ್ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ, ಎಲ್ಲ ಹಿರಿಯರಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ನನ್ನ ಪ್ರಿನ್ಸಿಪಲ್ ಆಗಿದ್ದಂಥ ಕೀರ್ತಿ ಕುಮಾರ್ ಸರ್ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ಇವರೆಲ್ಲರೂ ಬಹಳ ಅದ್ಭುತವಾದ ಕೊಡುಗೆಯನ್ನು ಸಂಸ್ಥೆಗೆ ನೀಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಇವತ್ತು ಇನ್ಫ್ಯಾಕ್ಟ್ ಇಟ್ಸ್ ಎ ಬ್ರಿಲಿಯಂಟ್ ಡೇ in the annals of Sri Ramakrishna Vidyashala because so many elders of Vidyashala they are present in this program. We respectfully thank all of you for your benign presence. Of course, we have to remember the contribution of Swami Muktidanandaji Maharaj in having all these additions to our already existing fantastic infrastructure. Revered Swami Muktidanandaji Maharaj, Revered Swami Yukteshnandaji Maharaj, and of course Revered Swami Mahipalanandaji Maharaj. They have done a lot to this institution, and we teachers and on behalf of all the students, we reverentially pay our pranams and thank all these Swamijis for all the additions that you have given to this institution. See, it's a beautiful story from a small lab in the present 10th classroom to this huge laboratory. It's a wonderful journey. With that infrastructure, Vidyashala could produce great scientists, vice chancellors, doctors, engineers, and you name the profession. Our boys are doing brilliantly well in this society. They are serving this society very well. And of course, with this new setup, I am very confident of my present children and the future children doing wonders in the field of science, and we are going to utilize this infrastructure to its greatest extent. We promise you that our boys will do very well in the field of science and technology, and also they'll do a lot of service activities because Dr. Jagadish Gangolly's act is a great eye-opener to all of us. We have to grow, but we should not forget the society which has helped us in our growth. This program, if it can be called a success, if you permit me to call a success, and the credit goes to so many teachers who have worked very hard. Our respectful thanks to all the members of the staff, and of course our student volunteers who have worked day and night. Sir, in another 15 days time our boys are going to write their public examination, but in a very disciplined manner they are seated and they have enjoyed this program. So our heartfelt thanks to all our children for their wonderful cooperation. We cannot forget the presence of all our elders who have graced the occasion. Our invitees are here. Our loving old boys are here, and hearty congratulations to Narendra sir for that brilliant speech. And on behalf of our institution, we reverentially thank all these elders and our old boys for their great gracious presence. Thank you, sir.
we conclude the program with Shanti Mantra.
पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः हरिः ॐ तत्सत् श्रीरामकृष्णार्पणमस्तु.
With the permission of Revered Swamiji's elders, we are concluding this program.